Welcome everybody to our August Metro Transit Community Connect. So, we're doing these regularly so that we can hear from you and you can hear from us. And let's talk a little bit about the agenda today. So we're doing the welcome introductions now. After that, we will talk about recent news and programs, things that you might want to hear about or you might have heard about but want more information about. Then there will be an update on projects, construction and closures. Service planning, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with some minor bus changes and route changes coming up. And then Call a Ride and our AD accessibility, we'll talk a little bit about updates there. And then we'll close with a big long period of question and answers at the end. So that's the agenda. Right now we're doing the welcome and introductions. Whitney, do you want to, should we introduce people on our team or do we go ahead and do that before we get started first?
Let's go ahead and do the before we get started.
Okay. So before we get started, a few housekeeping items. So we have a lot of great information to share with you today, and we want to get through all of this. We know it's 2 hours that we've scheduled here, and it's a collaboration. So our timekeeper on our end will be pushing our team to stay on time so that we maintain that plenty of time at the end for your questions and input. So throughout the presentation, you can leave your questions in the chat room or wait until the end and raise your hand to speak then. To raise your hand, there's a couple of ways of doing it besides just sort of clicking on the raise your hand function on the Zoom app. You can use Alt-Y on Windows or Option Y on a Mac, and that'll be an alternative to clicking the raise your hand feature. Clicking Alt-Y on Windows or Option Y on a Mac will toggle that back and forth, so you can raise and lower your hand with those options. If you're using a phone, you can just push *9 to sort of raise your hand or lower it. So we'll address as many questions as we can during the question and answer period at the end. Please be mindful of time when you are asking a question or giving input. We understand that you might have a lot to say, but we also have a lot of people on the call, so we may need to move along if there are other people waiting to ask questions. So that's sort of the general stuff before we get started. And now, Whitney, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Lisa. I am Whitney Wilson. I manage our consumer engagement, which is all of our community outreach and partnerships at Metro Transit. We have a lot of familiar faces on this meeting, so I know a lot of you joined us in our May session, or we've seen you at some of our in-person Community Connect meetings, but I wanted to go over just a little bit about what this is for those that are new. We launched Community Connect in May, and we just wrapped up our second series of in-person open houses this week. We had 3 all over the region. So today's meeting is really just a culmination of this quarter's series. Community Connect is your platform to interact directly with our Metro Transit teams, many of which are on the line, hear about the latest updates, and influence the decisions that shape your daily commute. Together, we'll explore the latest news, upcoming changes, and strategies for a sustainable, efficient, and user-focused transit system. Bottom line is we heard you. We know you want better access to our teams and information, and we want the same. These events will grow as we gather momentum. We've already seen an increase in attendance over the series that we had in May, but we'll continue to take shape of these so we can have more interactive and informative events with your input, hopefully. We'll keep switching it up. We'll dive into smaller spaces, larger venues, transit centers, community parks, really anywhere that we can to get closer to you and to the rest of our community. So these are intended to reach everyone, not just our transit customers. It's an open forum because everyone needs Metro, whether you ride or not. I do want to share with you our community webpage. So for future reference, anytime we have a Community Connect series scheduled, it will be on our website at metrostlouis.org/community. Our next series is going to be the first week of November. So here very shortly, we will post all of those meetings and the next virtual. So you can see it with plenty of time and plan to attend those however you can. I'm going to actually walk through our website with you because we have a few features here that help us connect with you even more. Yay, our internet's working. Okay, so at the top, we have the Community Connect intro. Because as I said, that's going to be the home for all of our upcoming meetings and anything related to Community Connect that we want you to know. We'll have those upcoming events listed here. As you can see, we have the meetings from this last week, the date, time, and location, along with a link to the transit connections so that you can find us via Metro. We also have a little bit of an expectation here for us when you can expect those future meetings to happen. As I said, the next ones are in early November. We always try to plan them ahead of our Metrobus service changes so that you have plenty of time to come and speak with our transit planning team and adjust anything that you need to, as well as give us feedback on what you think or what would work for you in an upcoming change. This is the part that I'm most excited about because a lot of people know that, you know, we host field trips and tours, but this is sort of the place if you want to connect with us, request a speaker, request a tour. We do field trips and group rides as well. But so we have listed here 4 opportunities that you can request Metro for: school field trips and group rides, facility tours. We do them all the time. Our Metro team members are always excited to host a tour. They're very knowledgeable, and even though they're the ones out there making our operations and safety and public safety happen, they're just as good at talking to you about it. Of course, we give presentations all over the region about any kind of topic that interests you the most. And we're all over the region at events. The most important thing about this page is this form. So not only can you use it to request one of the things I just talked about, but you can also give us feedback about these Community Connect meetings. So you would just click the drop down Community Connect. That can be suggestions anywhere from who you'd like to see or talk to at these meetings, if you have a suggestion for a space that can host one of them, or just anything you want us to know about how we can make them better for you. I am going to kick it back to Lisa now.
Thanks, Whitney. So I didn't tell you before when I was welcoming you, but my name is Lisa Cagle, if you don't know, and I am the Acting Assistant General Manager of Systems and Innovation over at Paratransit at Colorado. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about some recent news and programs going on with Metro. So first up, I'm excited to announce that the FTA has told us that we have been awarded over $10 million through the FTA's low and no emission vehicle program, a program that works to make sure that there's not greenhouse gases, or there's fewer greenhouse gases going into the air and into the communities that transit runs in. With this program, we'll be able to buy 10 new hybrid diesel electric buses from Gillig. So this will add to our fleet of 24 battery electric buses. So these are hybrids, so they're a little bit different than the battery electric, but it's exciting because not only does it allow us to sort of test out with our mechanics and our services what forms of transportation and renewable energy work best for our customers and for operations, but it also has an immediate impact in the communities that we serve where there's fewer emissions actually coming from the tailpipes of the buses that run in your neighborhood. So this is a pretty exciting program. Another big exciting thing that has happened recently is Governor Pritzker got to kick off our new public safety building at Emerson Park. So this was a $15 million public safety building project that opened on July 11th. And we want to congratulate St. Clair County Transit District for their hard work on this facility. So we're excited because this will help bolster communication and collaboration for security among Metro Transit, the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department, our public safety team in general, and the Bureau of Transit Police and other public safety partners. So this is good for everybody who rides our line, and we are excited for St. Clair County Transit District for this. Another exciting thing that we want to talk about is that we are being able to launch ridership programs to bring people back to transit as our operations get more frequent and more reliable. So there's a few things here. One is brand new and we're excited to share about it. So St. Louis Public Radio recently approached Metro Transit to be a part of their St. Louis Welcome Kit program. They talk to new St. Louisans and embed them into our culture and provide them with a so-called kit of useful information, which of course includes transportation. So we're excited to partner with our local NPR station to plan guided trips around St. Louis to meet and greet happy hours, welcome parties, and other activities that will allow transplants to make new friends and new habits in St. Louis. So needless to say, this also offers us the extremely valuable opportunity to tap into NPR's listener base, who may not be people who already ride transit, but we hope are people who value transit, and we're excited to give them new opportunities to experience our system. A couple of other things here. We're still working with the International Institute for Travel Training for our immigrants and refugees who go through the International Institute. We show them how to ride buses and Metrolink and other things so they can get around St. Louis when they're new to St. Louis and have more access just to everything that we have to offer here. There are new student orientations and guided Metro trips for various campuses across St. Louis. And one thing that our own Matthew Fernandez has been working on quite a bit is destination deals, where you can get local savings with your Metro Pass to different restaurants and vendors and places to shop. So check that out. There's more information about that on our website. And it's a great way to go to someplace that you already love and get a deal, or check out something new in the community. So you may have caught some of our recent hiring segments on KTVI Fox 2's Studio STL. So we wanted to share the latest with you today to give you a glimpse of how important the trades are and the services that we provide here, and the wide variety of skills that our team members have. So we're about to show you a video clip, and in it you'll hear Chelsea Haynes with Fox 2, Chuck Stewart, our Chief Operating Officer, and Tom Spurgeon, Metro's main shop superintendent. There will be visuals of our mechanics and maintenance team members working in the shop. I'm going to talk about a few of those activities now for those who may not be able to see the video. So they're doing things like working on transmissions, painting, handling materials they made off of a 3D printer. They're doing computer work, testing components before installation of a bus, driving a bus into the shop for a maintenance check, welding, cutting sheet metal panels, and calibrating equipment. Then Fox 2 shows buses going out into service, a Metrolink train running through a neighborhood, and scenes from a recent hiring event for Metro. It's a well-rounded depiction of the many activities that happen across our facilities. It's about 4.5 minutes long, so I'll come back in a few.
Wix gives you the power of AI to build the website you need. With full
Metro Transit is such an integral part of public transportation right here in our bi-state region. And today we're giving you a behind-the-scenes look at how they're making the magic happen all year round. The mechanics play an integral role in keeping the buses, trains, and vans in action, and we're showing you how they make it all happen.
So we're here at our central maintenance facility. We've got like 7 acres under roof here. This is where we do our heavy lifting as it relates to maintenance, okay? We have facilities here to paint buses. We have a paint facility right here. We do 3D printing here, which is a very exciting new thing that we're involved in at Bi-State. We do transmission work. This is where we do our heavy lifting that keeps our buses, our fleets out on the street servicing our customers. We would be lost without our mechanics, without our maintenance team. Again, they keep us on the streets. When we operate over 300 buses, we got to keep them rolling, and this is the team that does that for us. It's about building a career. It's about building a team. This team is very creative. They are at the forefront of our needs in terms of keeping our fleet in service. So they're continually thinking of new and better things for us to be more efficient and effective in our maintenance processes.
What we've done since I've been down here is we've looked for ways to support the entire agency. As far as Metrolink, we do stuff for the riverboats. We do a lot that a lot of people just don't realize what all comes out of this facility.
Well, you know, I think we've had other discussions about the fact that we are certainly in need of additional mechanics. We've been recruiting, we've been increasing compensation. We've been doing all of those things to make sure that our mechanics feel that this is a home. This is a place where you can grow and learn and make a difference, make an impact not only on our services at Bi-State, but on our community.
Because this is not just a place to have a job, this is a place to have a career. I started out here as a mechanic myself, and I've worked my way up through the system. We have a lot of good people to work with, a lot of different departments. Besides for all the things I've named here at Main Shop you can do, as mechanics move up, they can move into facility maintenance. You can move over to rail maintenance. There's a lot of opportunity here in this company to grow.
We are hiring for mechanics. We're still offering the $5,000 sign-on bonus for mechanics. So yeah, and I'm hoping that this will be an opportunity for people to see the great things that our mechanics team is doing and want to be a part of that team.
From 3D printing to painting buses or working on transmissions just like Bill is right behind me, there's so many ways for you to become a part of the team here inside of the mechanics department at Metro Transit. The next hiring event is coming up in August, and we'll make sure that you can also learn more about that $5,000 bonus by visiting their website at workatmetrostl.com. In Midtown St. Louis, I'm Chelsea Haynes for Studio STL.
So wasn't that fun? So yeah, just a reminder that while we're always hiring Metro bus operators and call ride operators, we're also looking for mechanics. So if you know anybody who has that skill set and looking for a new job, send them our way. Up next is project updates, particularly on the Secure Platform Plan by Kevin Scott, General Manager of Security.
Well, good morning and thanks for having me. I want to walk you through this project that has been very publicly visible really over the last year and a half as we've gone through the total design and now into the construction of SPP. SPP obviously stands for Secured Platform Plan. It is focused on the security gating and security fencing of the MetroLink alignment, in addition to the overall upgrade of our closed circuit television system, which is hugely important. So let me just take a little bit of time here to explain kind of the initial steps that we've taken from a security perspective relative to SPP. And then I'll talk about what we've done thus far with the hardscape changes. But from a security standpoint, when you think about your overall security program, beyond the human beings that work the alignment from a security aspect, all of the things that we do to complement what the human beings do, what the security officers and the police officers do, that is referred to security force multiplication. And if you made a list of all of those dynamics, all of the things that you could do to multiply or enhance overall security beyond your personnel, those are at the top of that list would be closed circuit television. So prior to this project, we had a closed circuit television program of about 800 cameras. The way those cameras were positioned along the alignment really did not complement our overall security needs. So we have worked to rebuild that closed circuit television system relative to our overall security needs, and in tying those views into a real-time camera center. Could you advance slides, please? Okay, very good. So this is a view of the camera center that we have. This was one of the initial steps or the initial processes in the closed circuit or the SPP program. So it is staffed 24/7, not only by Metro Public Safety, but by law enforcement as well, specifically from the St. Louis County Police. And the big difference is that this had to be the first step in the SPP project, because in essence, this will become the control center if the gating systems that we're putting in need to be overridden by our staff. So with that, I just wanted to give you a look at this. This had a lot of corporate investment or a lot of corporate interest relative to the camera center. It has paid major dividends thus far. It's been operational for almost a year and a half. It's paid major dividends thus far from a security perspective, even without the gating systems in place yet. So we're very, very happy with it. But this is really kind of the epicenter or the control center for overall security guidance. It's also accompanied by our public safety dispatching center, which is an adjacent room right next door. But the consoles that you see view camera footage in real time 24/7. So with that, I think if you go back to the first slide, maybe I can start with the hardscape changes then. All right, so SPP focuses again on security gating, security fencing, and obviously the implementation of closed circuit television. But it is a corresponding program or a partnering program to the overall upgrade of our fare collection system. The hardscape changes obviously will progress faster than the project relative to fare collection and putting that hardware in and updating that fare media. But we have an interim plan in place to run the gating system before the fare collection system or the old fare collection system is replaced, and I'll walk you through that in just a moment. But what we're doing and why we're doing this is we are securing these environments on these current 37, which will be 38 platforms if you include the construction at Mid-America Airport relative to the MetroLink extension that's going on. And you will have to produce a valid fare or a pass or whatever that valid media is to access through the gates. There are a lot of things from a security aspect that we deal with that start off of our property and traverse onto our property. We are also trying to create a safer environment on those platforms. So those hardscape changes specifically impact MetroLink. From a closed circuit television perspective, that impacts the entire metro system relative to the upgrading of camera systems on all of our trains and all of our buses, our transit centers, a lot of our properties. All of those images fed into that real-time camera center that I showed you a few minutes ago. When we started SPP, if we would have treated this in totality as one major project or one congruent project and had bid construction all at one time, it would have taken quite a long time to get through this process. We're titled under one project, SPP, but it really is 30, which will be 30 different locations, different programs. So we had to phase it, at least for the first couple of packages. And package number one, which is nearing substantial completion, we're hoping to have package one fully powered by mid-August. Those 4 stations in Illinois are Emerson Park, Washington Park, Jackie Joyner Kersey, and College. So this really is the genesis of the entire project. It gives us an opportunity to test the systems that we're putting in place, tweak the gates, the installation of the gates, learn from this process, and then operate the gates in a fully secure, impactful way as we work to build package number 2. Next slide, please. Package number 2, which is already under construction as well. By the way, the design for SPP, all of the packages, the entire MetroLink system, is being done by an engineering firm called HNTB. Excuse me. They're based in Kansas City. They have significant footprint across the entire United States, and they are running the design or the total design for this project. So we're working hand in hand with them from the type of gating that we used to the type of fencing, to meeting egress standards, to ADA compliance. Everything in this project has been professionally engineered and documented. So package number 1 being constructed by Millstone
scroll down until you.
Being constructed by Millstone Weber. Also, package number 2 is being constructed by a St. Louis firm, Millstone Weber. Package number 2 are 7 locations through the central core of St. Louis, from Delmar, Forest Park, Central West End, Cortex, Grand, Union Station, and Civic Center. So those will be online hopefully by December of this year. Also, design on the remainder of the platforms not included in package 1 or package 2 will be bid for construction probably late November, early December. And we anticipate the total project being done by January of 2026. As I mentioned, there is a corresponding important program, the fare collection integration. And until we have that new hardware in place, the current fare collection media will still be operational. These gating systems will be staffed by security, and security will validate the fare and proxy card people through the gate. So from the very first day that these gating systems are powered, they will be security impactful. And can you advance forward, please? And if you have any questions about the SPP program, we do a monthly update. We have a long list of individuals and stakeholders on our distribution list. So we send out a brief monthly update about where the SPP team is in the progress of the overall project itself. And at any time, if you would like to have or be on that list, you can contact us and let us know, and we'll include you. In addition to that, the best marketing tool that we have is for you to see what we're doing in real time. So we would be happy to spend some one-on-one time with anybody who's interested here at our facility, showing you the real-time camera center, taking you on the system, showing you the upgrades, how we anticipate this program impacting our overall security program. So I look forward to answering any questions you might have at the end of the presentation, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in person here at our facility.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Another project update we have is about constructions and closures at stations. So Tim Nittler, the Senior Director of Capital Projects, will be giving this update.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for attending, and we'll jump into some of the projects that we currently have ongoing. Anybody that is rides the Metrolink through the downtown section knows that 8th and Pine has been closed, and we have a station bypass in place currently. What we're doing there is we're removing the old escalator and reconstructing a new set of stairs that will get patrons down to the platform level. The picture you see there is taken this past week, showing some of the progress. We have a new wall constructed on the right, and we have some lightweight fill blocks going in. We should be forming up that staircase within the next week and start pouring the concrete within the next couple weeks and get that station up and running again sometime, hopefully mid-October-ish. And then at that point, we'll open 8th and Pine. However, we're going to transition our construction to Convention Center. Next slide, please. So similar issue at Convention Center. We'll close the station, we'll set up a bypass, and then we'll remove the escalators from that location and build staircases back in as well. So our intent is, like I said, once 8th and Pine is done, we transition to Convention Center sometime in the middle of the fall. We do that construction, and then we open Convention Center up, hopefully in early winter of 2025. So I apologize for any inconveniences we have there, but when we're done, we'll have a much nicer station and better access down into the platform levels. Next slide, please. Another project that is ongoing, and it's kind of been on hiatus while we work through some issues with our design. However, we are going to be starting that project back up within the next few weeks, and that is to replace the standpipe, which is basically the ability to get water from fire hydrants up at the street level down into the tunnel in case we would ever have a fire within the tunnel. So that is a very important safety feature of any tunnel, and as I stated, we are in the process of replacing that standpipe. We are expecting construction to start up within the next few weeks and then last another 2 months. So we'll have some single tracking through that area, both on evenings and through the weekends, to try and get that project wrapped up sometime in this fall. And next slide. And last but not least, our Union Station project, where we are rehabbing the tunnel that runs underneath the parking lot of Union Station, just to the west of our Union Station platform. Exciting news on that is that we had put that project out and requested sealed bids from contractors to perform that work. We've got bids in as of last week. We're evaluating those bids, and we look to move forward with the construction starting on that project sometime in mid-fall of this year. That project will entail some single tracking, some impacts to service, but it's at this point, until we get a schedule from our contractor, we really don't have any details on that, other than we know that we're going to have some single tracking impacts through that area. The project is slated to last 3 years due to the complexity and the working windows that the contractor has to get in there and do the job. But we're very excited to get that project up and running, as we've been working on it several years in the design phase and ready to get into construction on that one. So with that, I'll end my update and wait for any questions that come in at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tim. So now we're going to tell you a little bit about some updates for Call-A-Ride and service planning in general. So Cynthia Scott the general manager of CallRide, will be helping with the CallRide update, and I will be filling in for Jessica Gershman, who can't be here today, about Metrobus changes. So first up, on September 9th, we will have our quarterly Metrobus service change. They're really minor changes this time. We made some big changes in July, or in June. And so we will see some really small changes that affect customers. There's no changes to Metrolink or Metro CallRide, and the new schedules and maps for Metrobus will be available later this month on our website at metrostlouis.org. So the kinds of Metrobus service changes we're talking about, we heard a lot of our customers asking for some early morning trips on the 49, the 73, and the 91. So that's what you're seeing here mostly. So the number 4 Natural Bridge will have a slight change of time for the first morning trip to allow for a better connection with the number 34 at the North Hanley Transit Center. The number 49 Lindbergh will have some southbound weekday morning trips added. And then there will be some slight time changes to 2 afternoon trips to improve some on-time performance that was running a little bit behind. The number 73 Carondelet will be having a northbound trip added weekdays in the early morning to Civic Center Transit Center. Again, that's feedback from our customers who were asking for those early morning trips. Next, we have the 91 Olive. So we're also adding 2 morning trips for the eastbound weekdays. The route will end at Chesterfield City Hall because the Chesterfield Mall will be closed during this time. The 95 Kings Highway will have a northbound weekday morning trip added. There's some changing times for 3 early morning trips that will help us improve on-time performance and help people get to where they need to go on time. And the number 97 Delmar has some minor routing changes due to the VA hospital closure on Enright. So those are the sort of overview of the changes that you'll see. Again, these are just a sort of very small things to improve performance and transfers, but we'll have more information about this at the end of the month on the website. All right, next to Cynthia Scott.
Hi, good morning. My name is Cynthia Scott, and I am the acting general manager over here at CallRide Paratransit. And I'd like to start off with my team introducing themselves. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing here at CallRide without our team. So we'll go ahead and start with Allison.
Hi, I'm Alice Driscoll. I'm the paratransit analyst. So I do a lot of the reporting and the numbers that drives operations.
And I'm Sean Murray. I'm the director of operations. I deal with a lot of issues that affect our dispatch staff as well as our van operators.
Hi, and I'm Christina Dieters, the customer service manager, and I speak to a lot of our customers on the phone daily.
Well, thank you. And as you can see, this morning I'd like to start out discussing our denials. We're very excited about our denials. The denials continue to go down. That's something that we work on daily, is driving our denials down. So as you can see, we've gone from 2.14% to a little less than 90% in July. I would like for Sean Murray, he is the director of operations, to speak on our on-time performance. Go ahead, Sean.
Now, with our on-time performance, on-time is something that we track not only on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis as well as a monthly basis. And looking at our on-time performance, we took measures to, number one, increase it by addressing our manpower, looking at hours where we thought we were falling short, and placing our resources where it needed to be. We also created 2 new positions here at CallRide for our senior dispatchers, so it could provide a more humanistic aspect to on-time performance and not solely relying on what was coming out of trapeze. And that what we've noticed, number one, for the month, you can see that ending July, our on-time performance increased to 94.31% compared to June's number of 91.76%. So the measures that we've taken thus far, we can see the fruits of that labor.
Next slide, please. And so what we'd like to say as a team, that team also includes our Colorado operators, right now we're at 159 Colorado operators. We have 20 operators in training. So our operators are part of our team. They are the face of Colorado. And we continue to make the improvements with hiring and retaining all of our operators. Thank you, Lisa.
Excellent. So this graph, I think, really shows the success of this team over the last 13 months or so. So we're very proud of the work that the team has done here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Colorado phone system updates. So we know that there was a huge dropped call issue earlier this year. We finally have it fixed, and we haven't seen any dropped calls since July 13th. So I have my fingers crossed that that continues to be a good thing. We know that there's still some issues that we're dealing with in terms of weights and things like that, but we're recommending for folks who can to call in after 8:30 in the morning. You'll probably have a better experience if you call in after 8:30. Our highest call volume is usually between 7:30 and 8:30, and sometimes we get as many as 500 calls during that time. So you'll have a less wait time and a shorter queue time if you call after 8:30. And because we have fewer denials and we're able to deliver more trips, you're still very likely to get the trip that you're looking for. And I have a big update for you as well. So while we're working as quickly as we can to implement our new scheduling and dispatching software, it's a long time to wait when you want to see improvements in your experience right now. So I want to show that we're committed to providing the improvements that we can along the way. And one of the things that we heard from customers is that texting could be something that was really helpful for some customers. So as of August 19th, customers will be able to text CallAride to check on or cancel a scheduled trip. So the number that you will text, if you want to go ahead and add this to your phone, it won't work before August 19th, but if you want to go ahead and add it to your phone for August 19th, that number to text is 314-742-3051. And you will need, the name of the person that the trip is scheduled for, your home address, and the date of the trip in order to check on it or cancel your trip. We will not take reservations via text at this time. You still need to call the 314-982-1505 option 2 in order to make a reservation, but you will be able to text to check on or cancel a scheduled trip. Sorry, well, let me clarify. I need to go back to that slide 1 second. It's option 3 if you want to schedule a trip. Option 2 if you want to check on or cancel your trip when you call on the phone line. But we have both options. So all of that is coming out of, and you can go to the next slide now. Thank you very much. Is coming out of something that we've heard from you. So that texting as an option for checking in on or canceling trips comes out of what we've heard, that the majority of our survey respondents who entered responses for our CallAride software survey options, we got 104 responses, but a lot of you said that you want texting as an option. We also heard that you want to keep the option to call in. You don't want to not be able to call in. So want to alleviate any concerns there, calling in will still be an option. We are just adding options for you to communicate with us. So 80 people said you wanted to keep an option to call in to schedule, check on, or cancel your ride. A lot of folks express a desire for reminders or updates about trips. 80 folks said that you would like a text to have a reminder about an update about a trip that's scheduled. And 64 of you said specifically that you want to still be able to call in. We did see an appetite for a smartphone app and push notifications like people are getting on Via or other kinds of apps right now. There was 54 people who said they want a smartphone app to check in on their ride. 58 said they wanted to be able to schedule or cancel their ride via a smartphone app. And 75 of you specifically said that you wanted trip reminders. 78 of you said that you wanted ETA updates about when the van is coming. 83 of you specifically said that you wanted a notification that the van is 5 minutes away so you can get prepared before the van is actually there. And 44 folks asked for interactive voice recognition. So the good news is threefold here. One, we're so happy to learn more about what our customers' preferences are. A lot of this is not surprising to us because you've told us a lot of this in the past, but it's nice to have you telling us again, this is what you want. And we absolutely will keep the phone as an option for any Call-A-Ride customer. Number two is you told us some of the things that you want, and even though we can't implement them all right now, we can gradually add some of them. So that's where this texting option comes out on August 19th. And number three, all of these things that you said you wanted, our top 2 finalists for the new scheduling and dispatching software have all of these options that people said that they want. So this is all things that we can do going forward, which leads me to say, what is the timeline for the software implementation that we've been telling you about? So we're still on track. We'll have an official Metro announcement of the new scheduling and dispatch vendor for Call-A-Ride very, very soon. So we're excited about that. And we're also on track to start testing the new software this fall, and we want your help with that. So we'll be letting you know in the next month or so how to sign up to help us test it. So that's an exciting update as well. And with that, I will hand it over to Amy Parker, who will give us some updates from ADA Services.
Good morning. Thanks, Lisa. We can go over to the next slide. I have one big thing to talk about today, and that is our reboot of our ADA Customer Advisory Group. So we are right in the middle of recruiting new members. We're looking to refresh this group that has existed in some form for literally decades. We're going to make things a little bit more formal and have official members. Now, that doesn't mean if you're not one of these 15 community members selected to serve a 2 or 3 year term as an official member of this new committee, that you won't be able to still come to the meetings. The meetings will still be available for anyone to attend. So we are currently looking for 15 community members who would like to join us. There'll be about 6 regular meetings per year, and people who are interested can submit a statement of interest. If you could go to the next slide, please. So on this slide, I have a QR code that will take you right to a website that will give you lots of details about the committee structure and things. Also has a place that you can click to submit your statement of interest online via SurveyMonkey. You can also download and print a paper copy if that's your preferred method. Finally, you can give us a call. You can call me at 314-982-1525 if you need me to mail you something or there's some other questions that I could help with. I'm excited because as we have revamped this committee, we worked with about 6 people, came and met with Tracy and myself to help us kind of drive what we would like this committee to look like. They helped us develop the statement of interest, helped us decide how will we pick these people, and some of those people in that task force will be helping to select the inaugural members. So we are accepting statements of interest until August the 20th, and we will let those folks know if they are selected by the early part of October, and we plan for this committee to start officially meeting during the first week of November in 2024. I think that was my last slide. Is that right? Okay, that's what I have. Thank you.
Great, thanks everybody. I'm going to turn it back over to Whitney to tell us about upcoming community activations.
Thank you, Lisa. earlier on, when we were walking through our community webpage, I showed you and talked a little bit about how you can make requests for presentations and tours. Our consumer engagement team really works hard to be at as many places as we can in the community outside of those requests and outside of these Community Connect meetings. So while we have these quarterly events that are dedicated to you coming to find us and we're only talking transit, we try to make sure that we get out all over the region to catch other audiences and to remind them that they could have taken transit to this event, or to join our team, or to just learn more. So first, I want to give a shout out to our engagement team, because all the events you see here, it's really just a drop in the bucket as to what they're doing around the community year round. Matt Fernandez, Chris Jackson, Maureen Williams, and Seth Wolfmeyer, I think, are all on this call, but they're just working really hard all the time. So we have fun. We have a lot of fun. A lot of the events that I'm going to tell you that we have coming up are really just a blast, and we really enjoy being with the community. But for us, these partnerships, whenever we go into them and whenever we decide we want to be at an event, it's because it's doing one of two things, hopefully both. It's bringing awareness for people to ride transit, of course, and the part that public transit plays in our everyday lives, but it's also to bring a little bit of value back to our riders. So I know on the last Community Connect in May, we had a question about, what are you guys doing to engage your current riders? So what we do with a lot of these partnerships is we try to bring some of that back to our ridership and work it into our transit centers with giveaways or discounts or just something special. So I'll just run through a quick list of what's on the screen here. Just in the rest of August, we have a big focus on campuses. Our UPass universities, those big 5 schools, are coming back next week. So we have a pretty full calendar of just trying to engage those college students, getting them on the system, because hopefully those people will be transplanted here in the future after they decide to build a little home after college. Festival of Nations is August 24th and 25th. It's a huge event for us. Destination Deals. We talked a little bit about that at the front of this presentation. It's our Show Your Pass and Save program. Our merchant of the month this time is, can't remember. It's an ice cream shop, but we'll be at Grand on August 28th, working with them on some freebies and some special discounts. September 1st, we're going to the St. Louis City soccer match. It's actually a sustainability game. So the city is going to be reminding all soccer fans to take transit or some other kind of alternative transportation besides driving to that game. So we will be there really reinforcing that. September 3rd through 5th, St. Louis is hosting the Missouri Public Transit Association Conference. So we'll have people from all over the state of Missouri who are transit professionals, but we're really going to guide them around, show off our transit system. And we have some specialists who will be speaking to our peers at some of those other agencies across the state. September 6th through 8th, Q in the Lou, a big barbecue event that's going to be on the riverfront this year. September 8th, Fiesta Cardinalis. So this is one of the St. Louis Cardinals theme nights. And we will be there right in the stadium talking to our Cardinals fans. September 13th, Scott Air Force Base Fall Festival. We go there with St. Clair County Transit District to really talk with the military families on base about their connections with using St. Clair County Transit District vans to connect to our system. And of course, the Metrolink station right there. September 14th, Taste of Black St. Louis. September 21st is Frizz Fest. That's a new and upcoming festival. And then to round out September, we have Tower Grove Pride, September 28th and 29th. So I invite you to just join us. Usually if there's a big event happening in St. Louis, we're there. So come find us. You don't have to wait for the next quarterly Community Connect series to talk transit with us. Thank you.
All right, great. Now we're on to the question and answer part of our program. And look at that. We have an hour left before we're done here. So plenty of time. So Tracy, I think there were some questions in the chat that you wanted to read out.
Yeah, I do. Good morning, everybody. I'm Tracy Bauer. I work in ADA services with Amy Parker. First and foremost, just to let everybody know, JT pointed out that this month's destination deal is Sugar Witch ice cream treats and more. So just that, I thought that was of high importance to let everybody know right away. Starting off with a couple questions about SPP. Mr. Scott, this one is for you. The person, let me see if I can find that question again. Basically, it was driving at how the packages were created and if they were created on a need-be basis, how they were prioritized, basically.
Sure, that's a great question. This is one total security upgrade, so it's one total project. The first package, those locations were chosen because of the specificity of potential challenges that we would face at those locations. The same types of scenarios would play out over the course of the entire alignment. So that's why package number one really is a beta test or a genesis to this project. Based on that, how we laid out the remaining packages really is from a engineering standpoint. So how quickly can we implement as many platforms as possible?
Great, thank you. There is also another longer comment that is probably directed towards Mr. Scott or Amy. I have some very serious concerns about people who use wheelchairs and have limited arm mobility and hand dexterity being able to operate the validation boxes, help, and emergency buttons. I really hope that Metro works with people in wheelchairs to see how the system could be adapted. I examined the Emerson platform, and it seems now when everything is fully automated, wheelchair users will have to press the call button, many of which are inaccessible or would require a lot of movement and dexterity, which many wheelchair users do not possess, and wait until someone answers to ask them to open the gate. I hope that a more accessible and less time-consuming procedure can be created. This is a great personal concern for me because I use the MetroLink on a daily basis, and that was from Stephen Folsch.
Sure, I'll be happy to take that one as well. That's also a very good question. So right now at Emerson Park, what you're seeing, you're not seeing any changes. We haven't installed any ADA compliant validators or any ADA call buttons as of yet. That will be done over the course of the next couple of weeks as we prepare to power that location. In this particular situation, our ADA approach to the entire project has been professionally designed, certainly to comply with where we need to comply. In the particular situation that's being described here, relative to an inability to validate fair media on an ADA compliant validator or be able to push a call button for gate release, relative to the real-time camera center, there will be staff there to assist you.
Amy, did you have anything to add?
Well, I would maybe just like to add a little bit. So, Steve, I'm really glad I'm glad that you have had the chance to go with Missy earlier this week, I think, and look at things. And so I'm really excited about the collaboration that's happening because, like Kevin said, so, you know, we're working hard to make sure that things are compliant, but we also know that in the real world, then sometimes there still are some challenges in particular situations. And that's when we we look at how do we make what we call a reasonable modification. And that's what we're really working to find that good solution, you know, and I know that there's been a conversation started about how can we do this? And I know there's still kind of that concern about, well, what if the people at the real-time camera center don't answer right when I call? And those are things that we're gonna keep figuring out until we get a good solution so that those who aren't able to have the dexterity or the reach to, you know, use the system as it's designed in a compliant way can still access our programs and services. And so I appreciate you bringing this up on this forum again and keeping it at the top of our mind. Does that help a little bit? Yeah, okay, cool.
I just want to pop in here, Terry Williams, we see your ingenious method of asking us a question on the screen. Your question, and I just want to get to that because I want you to know we see you. Your question is, can we see CNA on some Coloride vans or rides? Is anyone able to answer that question today, or can we get back to Terry with an answer for him?
Well, Terry, if you're able to clarify your question for us, if you're able to unmute and speak to us to help us understand the question, that would be awesome. And I don't know if this is your question, I'm sort of assuming. You can bring your own personal care attendant who could be a CNA with you on Call-A-Ride. If you're a Call-A-Ride, an ADA paratransit eligible person, your personal care attendant can ride with you on Call-A-Ride for no fare. You would just let them know you have an attendant. But if you're asking if Call-A-Ride would provide CNAs on the vans, I'm pretty sure the answer to that one is no.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Oh, Terry, can you unmute and let us know if that answered your question? We could probably certainly find your email from the registration and reach out by email afterwards as well.
Great, let's plan on doing that. Okay, so just a friendly reminder that you can also use your voices and raise your hand to ask a question. I see that there are a couple hands raised, but we do just have a couple more questions that were in the chat that let's hit a couple of those first, and then we'll get to the people who have their hands raised. So JMO asked in the Q&A, and this is probably a question for the Call-A-Ride crew, why did the phone system go down during the weekend of July 27th through the 28th?
Yeah, so we can try to give an answer to that. According to our IT infrastructure team, it was a bug that was in Cisco that we had never seen before and was very rare, but it required us to restart our servers. And it was not just Call-A-Ride's phone center that was affected, it was also the Arch call center. And because we had to restart our servers to fix it, we had to wait until basically everybody was off of them. So we had to do it at night. So that's sort of like a not very useful answer, but that is the answer to that question. And there's a patch that they were installing that should prevent that particular bug from coming into effect again. So it was just another random software thing.
Great, thank you, Lisa. And don't run away. I have one more for you. Starry says that she's heard Ecolane is easier to use and better than Spare Labs. Will there be testing for both, or will you just pick one and have testing then?
That is a great question, Starry. So while we would love to do some pilots with various kinds of software providers at the same time, that is not the timeline that we are on. So we did a full competitive procurement here with different software vendors. I can tell you that EcoLane, Spare Labs, VIA, and one other one that I can't remember right now, all presented full proposals. And we looked at them. We had a large team working in ADA services, IT, and Colorado evaluate the proposals. And we're going to select one and go with it and test it. And that is in part because we're trying to stay on a tight timeline. I would be happy to talk more offline about different vendors. I'm not sure exactly what I can say, given there was a procurement process there in the public, but those all the vendors that you mentioned all did provide proposals.
Thank you.
So we'll just be choosing one and then testing it out to make sure it works and that the systems are up and running the way we want them to, and that it's functioning the way people want them to.
Okay, Melissa, if you would like to go ahead and unmute to ask your question.
Hi, I have, it's not as much of a question as a shout out, and thank you very much. I have a 22-year-old son that has cerebral palsy and uses a wheelchair and a walker, and he goes to UMSL in the Succeed program. And I had done transit a lot myself on business travel, but I honestly had been really afraid of having him go. And I had always just had it in my head that he would never, ever be able to do this alone, like to ride the Metrolink. So we hadn't done it. And he had to do it for an assignment, and I went with him. And I think the biggest surprise to me has been that it's so much easier for me and him together, like than driving. And I don't know if you've ever tried to navigate like through finding a handicap parking space downtown, driving downtown, finding the handicap, darting in and out of traffic in a parking garage and across streets. And it's very stressful. But we have gone to now a bunch of Cardinal games, and like even just me and him will go. We've been to the History Museum. We went to one of his children's hospital appointments now, and I just a huge shout out to all those Red Line Metrolink drivers, because they're always so nice and they always wait for us to get off the train, and you can tell they're looking, and you know, they wave and they don't, you know, take off before he's out there. So I just wanted to, you know, big appreciation for me, and I think it's really opened up some other opportunities for him that I wouldn't have thought about.
Great. Thank you so much, Melissa. We like to hear that kind of feedback. It's what we're all about. We want to hear that people are having success on the system. All right, Brian, if you want to go ahead and lower your hand, unmute.
Good morning. Yes, so I'm Brian. I'm with the St. Louis Urbanist Discord, and also a member of the CMT. So my question was just a general one. Somebody had observed and asked in the Discord about, it was either at Cortex or the Grand Station, one of the two, but they saw that with the new security fencing going in, that the old fencing was still in place. So we're just curious, is the fencing going to be doubled up, overlapped like that on a permanent basis, or is the old fence going to be taken down when the new fence is completely installed?
Sure, that, and I don't know if Tim Netler is still on this call as well, but that is because there is a greenway project going on there as well. So all those modifications haven't been made yet. So what you're seeing, it really is a transitional phase.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'll verify that. Thanks, Kevin, for weighing in. But yes, that's just a temporary situation, which will be resolved in the near future.
Great, thank you. Dwayne, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Yes, I would. I have a couple of comments first.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the forum here. And I think it would be a good idea to advertise it on the when the caller ID messages are going through. I noticed they put one on about the new ADA advisory committee, so that would be a way to get other people to see all the new information and what's going on. It's helpful. It's helpful to see things more from your perspective and how you're trying to fix the system globally. So I want to give a shout out to Tracy this morning for fixing a glitch in my e-fare system. So I got myself to work for $2. And the only other thing I'd like to say is I'd like you guys to continue to remember the people that lost service because of the cuts. And I'd like to continue to advocate for restoring service and increasing service for people with disabilities, because I used to live down on Tesson Ferry Road. There's a nice apartment complex that was accessible for a caller ride when I lived there, but there's 6 apartments right there now that don't have access to caller ride because the bus doesn't go down Tesson Ferry anymore. So it's a critical issue for the community to have access to the system. I'm a person right now that requires caller ride all the time, so I'm aware that's important for me to be able to move and do the things I want to do. So if you're not on the system, I remember when I was driving and I would think about caller ride and think I'm never going to use caller ride because I'm driving. But I know a lot of people don't even use the system. But if you had a situation where you were forced to do so, maybe you'd understand what we're talking about as far as increasing the services for people and allowing more people to use the service in an easy way. So that's what I have to say.
Great. Thank you, Dwayne, for that feedback. And I'm glad that we were able to get your caller ID fare up and running this morning so that you could get to work. Does anybody have any comments about service changes or anything about that in response to Dwayne? I think we kind of covered that a little bit earlier. Lisa, did you have anything you wanted to say in addition to that? No? Okay. All right. So moving along, somebody put a question in the chat that Lisa answered in the chat, but I'm going to go ahead and read the question and the response just so that everybody has the benefit of the information that was provided. So Joanne asked, will the texting option be available for the regular bus system and/or will live tracking be available for the regular bus system? And so Lisa's response was, texting is already available on the Metro bus system as well as live tracking. You can text our customer service team at 314-207-9786 for next arrival times for buses. You select option 1 and enter the bus stop ID, which is on the sign. You can also get real-time arrivals through the Transit app. You can download the Transit app today through your Apple App Store or through Google Play on your Android. And then our website also has additional information if you go to metrostlouis.org. Okay, and we have another comment here from Robin Wallen. I'll go ahead and read that out loud. She says, as Transportation Committee Chair of the Missouri Council of the Blind, I get information from all over the states. There is some hesitation about hiring an outside contractor for an on-demand paratransit service. I understand that on-demand is the way of the future and has been adopted by many cities as more equitable and equal form of transportation. Most of these cities use services like Via, Serve, and taxi or rideshare services. Recently, KCTA has decided to try and start to take that service in-house, which I know is something you were considering. Unfortunately, because of a recent software change and they're trying to take Ride KC Freedom in-house, customers are now having serious problems. They wait for 2 to 3 hours for reservations and are getting details among other denials, I believe that is, among other problems. I hope that their problems might help you seriously think about not ending up in the place that KCTA is now with their paratransit program.
So I'm just going to respond briefly to that. Thank you for that question, Robin. I hear you. So there is a move from our union to want to be able to bid on the kind of work that has been sort of piloted currently with other services. We are working on a plan to sort of test bringing it in-house. So it would be like a smaller case of testing it out to see what that would look like. We don't have that plan in place yet. So we assume that we will be staying with external vendors at least for the next year or so. So it won't be immediate. We are listening to our peers who are trying these things out. We do peer conversations pretty regularly, but we appreciate you telling us about those things that you hear as well. So I can reach out to Kansas City and see kind of what their experience is going on. But we hear you. We appreciate the input. And I would love to talk to you more about overflow services and what our current sorts of possibilities or constraints are for that.
And then Lisa, one more quick question from Robin was, what is the $1 Lyft pilot program she found on the website, and is that still in effect?
Yes, good question. It is still in effect. So, but it's kind of, we're kind of ramping it down a little bit. So basically the history of the $1 Lyft program was when we did Metro Reimagined back in the fall of 2019 is when it launched. There were some areas that had neighborhood services that used to have neighborhood buses that we took the buses out of those neighborhoods because we were focusing on more frequent buses along major arterials. In some of those neighborhoods where we took out the buses, there were folks who weren't able to walk the distance, which was between a quarter of a mile or a half a mile to get to the bus stop that they had, to get to the bus route that they had been using. So we put this sort of pilot program in place, which was sort of like a placeholder for like a first mile, last mile program for folks who kind of needed to be able to get to the buses that they used to take regularly. It's not a very simple program to explain. There are corridors, again, kind of small, like spaghetti-like corridors where there had been a bus before fall of 2019. We put in a small Lyft corridor so that people could use it to get to and from the bus line. There is information about it on the website. You can call in customer service and they can tell you where it is. You can if you download the Lyft app on your phone and put in a promo code, that's what it explains on the website. If you put in the promo code, it will give you a map of the places that are covered there. But again, it's not a very easy to use program. It's still something we're using as a safety net, but we'd like to put out for a bid for a more true first mile, last mile program that also has vehicles that have wheelchair accessible vehicles, which Lyft does not right now. So that's a really complicated and probably not very helpful explanation. But if you put the code into your Lyft app, you can see the maps. And I'd also be happy to talk to anyone offline about that if you want to know more about that program.
Thanks, Lisa. We do have an anonymous question in our Q&A section about SPP. Is there any opportunity to stop the secure platform plan before we spend the full $50 million plus to complete the plan? More investment in bringing staff on board with programs such as Chestnut Health and de-escalation training would be a better alternative to fortifying walls and fences around the system. Investing in warming stations, bus shelters, and benches on the bus system will also make our system safer. Walls and fences will only make it harder to access transit, while the security issues will still be there without people there to help de-escalate. Kevin, do you want to answer that?
Sure. So when you're talking two different topics here, one is security, one is operational. So I'll hit the security side of this. So our security program is a layered, holistic approach. As a matter of fact, in that question, they cite the effectiveness or the need for programs like Chestnut, where in fact the security subcommittee of the board yesterday just approved a two-year renewal for our Chestnut teams. All right. So we take a layered approach. There are a lot of things that we have to do in order to accomplish overall security on this system. We operate within a compact. There are things that we can and we can't do. And so we have to build those layers from personnel to technology to programmatic approaches. The effort to take the system from an open concept to a closed concept will not change. It is this is a security upgrade, one that we feel is needed. It will fit within the layered approach of what we do. There's not one thing from a security standpoint that I could articulate as the save all for security. A lot of what we face is impacted by an overall regional public safety concern. We certainly, without question, and these aren't my words, these are the words of Gabe Gore, the new circuit attorney here in St. Louis. We are in a significant violent crime crisis, and we are going to exhaust all options to ensure that our product has as much of a safety buffer around it as possible. There is significant private and significant money delegated for this project. So stopping the closure of the system will not happen, but we do understand the need and we do prioritize the need. And I can give you other examples about an overall holistic approach to overall safety and security.
Thank you, Kevin. There is actually another question kind of somewhat related to that about, again, back to the prioritizing of which stations receive SPP first. And this was a question about when they're decided on. The person had asked because of recent occurrences that have occurred at Hanley, some safety concerns there, I believe.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, we're aware of issues along the alignment, what occurs at different locations. Relative to the project, relative to SPP, the decisions that are made about which platforms will go first, and we're hoping to accomplish all of the platforms, obviously by January of 26, really are engineering decisions based on how many platforms can we get done as quickly as possible. Some platforms will be more challenging than other platforms. So again, although there was some without a doubt, some security consideration, most of how we packaged or positioned platforms within those packages were based on engineering and design. Where we had the right components, where we had fiber, where we could easily work. Again, the packages or the locations in package number 1 were chosen because they all presented some uniqueness that we would face across the system. And we had to make sure that what we were doing, the gating systems that we're using, the technology that we're using to secure the gates, and I can go on and on and on. We needed to make sure that all of that worked. To build out the entire system and then flip switches at the end and hopefully everything works together collectively was not an option for us. We weren't willing to take that risk. But the positioning of the platforms were based on engineering and design priorities. So beyond these first 11 platforms, package 1 and package 2, the rest of the system will be bid for construction at one time. So we're hoping to move as quickly as possible.
Great, thank you. There's a couple more questions kind of wrapped into this comment as well. I'm not sure if anyone on the call from Metro would be able to answer, and if not, then we will definitely make a note of these questions and get back to Oniva Cook on them. So the questions are, when will we see the new Metrolinks? And then the next is bus tickets and bus passes used on the Metro platform transferring over to the MCT platform is a concern to me when it comes to the all-day pass. So I don't know if anybody from Metro wants to take a stab at either one of those. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll try to get those answers for you and email you directly with those answers. We have one great comment here from Starry. She said recently she went on Metrolink with her service dog in training and we had no issues getting on, riding, or getting off. And we are really grateful to hear that. Alrighty, so there are a few comments here about bus service, and I'm going to read them out loud, kind of along the same line of what Dwayne was talking about earlier. So somebody says, please restore service for Call a Ride and other services that were cut. The 58X was temporarily cut a couple years ago, and with no communication, that became a permanent cut. Last year, the 56 bus was also cut on weekends and after 7 p.m. When I visit family in Webster Groves, it is now not possible to use Metro for the first time. And as Webster was founded as a streetcar suburb from 2023 to now, this may be the lowest amount of transit service in that city's history. And then Starry also said, I would like to echo Dwayne's sentiments about the Call a Ride cuts. My family still lives in an area where I was told the bus would not come back for a very long time. 3 of my family members have moderate to severe disabilities. Because there's not a bus there, they're not going to get their Call a Ride. And so those seem to be the main comments regarding that. So if anybody wanted to comment on that.
So in terms of sort of service planning and thinking about where Metro bus goes, I'd say any advocacy for expanding coverage of Call a Ride or Metro bus, particularly in St. Louis County, I'd say talk to your elected official. That's a good way of letting them know what your priorities are. And as you know, Metro and bi-state development is funded from local sales taxes. So people knowing that their constituents care about Metro Transit and that Metro Transit is what they rely on either through bus or Call a Ride to get where they want to go is a really important message. I know those of you have made those comments in the chat, have let your elected officials know that, but I just have to echo that for everybody else. You know, we're really focusing right now on making sure that the service that we are providing is reliable and it's resilient to any kinds of resource constraints or changes that we have, and making sure that is the best that we can offer. We would love to see expansion of transit in many different ways, but until we can make sure that we are operating with what we have the best that we can, we do not want to stretch the peanut butter so thin that we're providing bad service in places. So we hear you. Please continue to let us know where you would like to see transit. We know that it's really difficult for people who rely on transit to get around, again, through Metrobus or Call a Ride, to not have that at their home address anymore. And we do not take that for granted. So thank you for your comments. Anytime you can provide us with specific destinations, that allows us, our service planning team, to keep that in our records for where people are requesting service, where the most people are requesting service, or where the highest need is.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. There's another question here for you as well. Robin asks, have you considered microtransit community service for more of West County? Unless you live right off of one of the main roads, it is very difficult to travel around on fixed route buses and often walk long distances, which prevents many people from riding fixed route.
So yeah, we have thought about it. So the Via Metro STL pilot that we've been running since 2020 was specifically to test out different use cases to see where microtransit actually works best for connecting people to our fixed route network and making sure that it creates a stronger fixed route network for everybody. What we're trying to transition to, Robin, is something that is more of like a first mile, last mile that connects people to major bus lines. That is the plan for the future. And as we are able to, like, as I was saying before, make sure that we're running buses consistently and regularly, no matter what the conditions are in the places that we currently have service, we will be able to think about the long-term picture of connecting people to those buses as well. So we have considered expanding it. There will be some small changes that we're testing out this fall that will give us some more information on some first mile, last mile options. And I hope to have more information on that in the future.
Along those same lines, JMO comments, Lisa, that members of SMART did testify to St. Louis County Council on July 30th regarding the need to have robust service throughout our region. Affordable and accessible housing options are so rare. It is debilitating for people with disabilities to have our housing choices limited because of lack of transportation where some of that housing is. We appreciate that comment, JMO, and be assured, please, that that's on our minds as well here at Metro when we are planning. A couple comments about Community Connect, maybe feedback for you, Whitney, would be somebody was asking if we could host these on different days, such as some people are off on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, so that they would be able to come. And then another comment was also, could we consider having the next ones in West and South County?
Absolutely. We do sort of spread out our in-person events through different days of the week. We've had them on Saturdays as well as various days through the week, and we'll just continue doing that because we understand everybody has different schedules. And yes, we are looking at a South County option right now. We're just waiting on confirmation for our November meetings. We usually are in North County. Sorry, you said West County. Yeah, we'll have a spread all over the region. We try to keep it to just a few events per quarter, just to sort of, allow our team to not be so spread so thinly. So where we're not at one quarter, we'll be at the next quarter, but I absolutely would like your recommendations on specific places, especially if you know that there is a community center or really any kind of organization that's easily accessible on transit and it's easy for you to get to. We would love to hear it. There's really no limit as to where we'll go as long as it's easy for you.
Great. And this is just another friendly reminder, as much as I don't mind reading the questions out loud, we'd love to hear your voices too. So don't be shy about raising your hand and speaking out, because we'd like to hear from you guys. One great comment that we have here from Brian is Via Metro is really great. I'm sorry, that would be the most effective microtransit option for the far reaches. It's quick, cheap, and like taking Uber. So thank you for that feedback. And then JMO was asking, can someone offer a plain language definition of what first mile, last mile option means?
And JMO, you have your hand up. Do you want to
I wanted to give some feedback on accessibility at the Community Connect meeting that I went to. So if you want to tackle first mile, last mile, and then I'll be glad to share the good and the bad of what happened at the school I went to.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, first mile, last mile. Sorry, I try not to use too much jargon, but sometimes I forget. So first mile, last mile comes out of just like transportation logistics more generally. So when you're thinking about transportation networks, like if you're trying to transport something, in a semi truck across the nation on an interstate, but then you have to get to the warehouses wherever the last mile piece is, you oftentimes will have a different kind of transportation that first or last mile to get you to the main network. It's the same thing for the transit network of carrying people. Is, not everybody can live right next to the Metrolink or to a 15-minute bus, because that's not how mass transit works. But that first mile, last mile of either the first mile going from your, home to the train or to the bus, or from the bus or the train to your final destination, how do you get there? So it's really thinking about a multimodal system, recognizing that you might not just use one vehicle to get from point A to point B on a mass transit system. For first mile, last mile, talking about that first piece of the journey.
So the mile part of it isn't literal. It's not a 1 mile distance. It's about how do I make my connection to, say, a Metrolink station if there's not one near my house, but I need to go to Metro East, and the Metrolink will get me there. How do I get from my house in Benton Park to where I can access that Metrolink?
That's absolutely correct. So to give a little bit more context, maybe even more than you want right now, people were asking about, you know, microtransit in general and thinking about these on-demand services. One of the things that we'll be testing out here coming soon are our VIA zones that we've been running in. They're huge. Like one of them is like over 50 square miles. That's not really a microtransit, right? It's a very large area to cover. But if we think about it in terms of sort of, hey, we're going to have main transfer points or key nodes that are transit centers that connect to, you know, multiple transit lines. And really the microtransit is going to take you to and from your house to those destinations and try to sort of get people together to the main transit. That's what we're going to be testing out soon with VIA as well. And that's probably more like a 5 miles than it is like a 1 mile. So
Okay. Well, my feedback that I wanted to offer about the Atlas Elementary School location for the Community Connect, I was able to park right by the front door, which was great. And there was a greeter inside, which was great. And he told me to go to the hallway to his left. But once I got in that hallway, there were signs that said there was a Community Connect, didn't have directional arrows. So I just kept rambling along until I heard enough voices to know where the right room was. So you might want to print your signs with directional arrows so folks know which way they're walking. And you might want to also include some clear signage about where to find the accessible restrooms. As I left the building, I stopped at 2 staff restrooms, hoping that those would be good ones because they were like individual rooms, and I knew that they would be adult sized because they were for staff. I was in an elementary school, and neither of the staff restrooms had bars, so I couldn't use the restroom in either of those. So I found another door with a wheelchair sign by it and was excited that I'd found my room, but it was for a child. So the toilet was literally 5 inches off the floor, and there was no way my knees were going to make that work. So I went to a quick trip. But if you would label which bathrooms work for which kind of people in the buildings that you pick, we would appreciate it.
Thank you, JMO. And we will also include making sure that restrooms for everyone are available in the locations that we're selecting. I appreciate that.
All right, Oniva Cook, would you like to unmute and ask your question? Let's see if I can help you unmute. There we go. If you're talking, we're not able to hear you. All right, well, why don't we move on to Brian? Would you like to go ahead and unmute and try to ask your question, and we'll see if we can figure out.
Hi again. So my question is pertaining to the new train sets that are coming, as you mentioned, in 2027 for the light rail. So in terms of bicycle accommodation, it didn't seem in the renderings that there was going to be a specific bicycle accommodation made on these vehicles. Has it been explored as an option, the possibility of having a designated bicycle area with perhaps the vertical hanging racks for bicycles so that bicyclists can hang their bikes rather than kind of awkwardly try to figure out where to have them in aisles and such when riding the train? Is that something that is being explored, or what is the plan there?
Who from Metro would like to tackle that one?
I'll do it for you. Hi, my name's Ted Zimmerman. I'm with our marketing and communications group. And so the renderings that you're seeing are just the first visuals of, what a train could look like. But they're just getting into that process. So I'll make sure that that information goes over to our Metrolink team to look at how bikes will be accommodated on the trains. It's a great idea. Thank you for bringing it up too.
Certainly, thank you.
Okay, there is a comment here from Ronald Wallace. Says he is a power wheelchair user. Can the 5-minute reminder time for the call ride bus be increased if needed? Unfortunately, items drop on the floor, chair malfunctions, things blocking the pathway. Murphy's Law seems to always be sitting on my shoulder. Thank you.
That is a fantastic question. So for everybody who's hearing this, right now, when a call ride operator, the van arrives at a location, the customer is given a call and said, hey, we're here, we're waiting. And then there's a 5-minute period where we're sort of waiting for the passenger to come out. And after that, it is possible for us to leave and say the passenger, wasn't ready, or it was a cancel at the door. And that is just to try to keep things on schedule and moving. I think that the answer that will be most helpful for most call ride users is that we want to give a heads up before the driver even gets there that the vehicle is on the way. We don't have a really good way of doing that right now. That's one of the things that our new software is supposed to be helping us with, to either give an automated call when the van is 5 minutes away, so that it's not even there yet, but it's telling you, hey, it's about to be here. And then you still get the 5 minutes after that it arrives in order to get to the van. So we wanted to give people a heads up before the van even gets there that it's going to be, that it's closer, that it's on its way. And that's something we're working on, to either have an automated phone call, a text that goes to your phone, if that's a method that you prefer, or a push notification in your app like you get through Uber or Lyft to say, hey, it's 3 minutes away, it's 5 minutes away, so that customers can have a heads up, that you're not just sort of like waiting and looking to see if it's there, but that you can have a heads up that it's on its way. So we're working on fixing that notification issue and should have solutions here by the beginning of next calendar year.
Thank you, Lisa. Ms. Cook, would you like to try again?
Okay, could you hear me now?
Yes, there we go.
Okay, great. So first of all, I want to thank you guys for doing this and allowing us as the community to listen and see the vision of what is being done throughout the metropolitan area with Metro, St. Louis Metro. I want to say that from what I'm seeing, good job to all of you all, kudos, because this is what we want to see, especially individuals like myself who are returning to the metro area from other states. And I have to say that the game, you really stepped your game up. You really stepped your game up. And for me, an individual who takes public transportation throughout the world, because I do travel a lot, I want to say kudos again to you all. I was one of the first to receive the Gateway card many years ago. Before I had left St. Louis, would have been probably like at the most 7 to 10 years ago. And I kept that card. And I'm gonna be honest, I just gave that card because gave it to one of the, I think her name is Miss Nave at the Metrolink store downtown. Am I pronouncing her name correctly?
Danielle, probably.
No, it's not a Danielle.
Oh.
She has an accent. But
Janab.
anyhow, I want
would
that
be Dab.
back because I feel like that's a souvenir in lieu of the process that's going on with the changes that are being done in the metropolitan area. So I'm hoping I can get my card back, my Gateway card, because it was really the original when it first actually started. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I want to start with Lisa. Lisa, I had asked you a question in the chat in reference to the stop IDs being text to the MetroLink. What is it called? The ID number, or the stop ID is texted to this like 5-digit code. The reason why I bring that up is I use it a lot because in Chicago and Memphis, Tennessee, and most definitely the Atlanta area, it's used heavily. I mean, they use it like so much. So I'm used to it. So when I got here and I'm using it, I finally seen it. I noticed that a lot of other individuals, and I literally talk to these individuals, because keep in mind, and I want to say this again, please keep in mind, Metro, we are your eyes, we are your ears in the public. And that's why we can come back to you guys and say, hey, we need this done. Hey, we need that done. So what I have been seeing is that a lot of people are not aware of that particular method or feature, as you will, you can say. And what I'm thinking is, like, when we go to these platforms, okay, and I'm not sure if you guys even go to the platforms yourself, but I would strongly suggest that, just get out and, be one of us so you can see exactly my vision of what I'm talking about. So like if I'm going on to the platform, let's say over by the Busch Stadium, I think it would be wise to put like those, because I've been seeing like little, I don't know if it's called ad boards or boards that's displayed on the little gates, because I've been seeing that you guys have been placing them in reference to the upcoming changes that's going to be done about the surveillance and the new security for safety. But I think also you might want to somehow put that in there as well, so people, like myself, who is old fashioned, I still literally have a flip phone. And just as we were speaking about individuals with disabilities, therefore they can get that real time. If they text, they can get that real time of that bus being, or that, if any bus being at that particular stop ID. So I think that's wise that they know it's out there and it can be used. And it's like, oh, okay, I can just text it instead of pulling it up on the app. Because most people are not downloading the app. I mean, I don't download it on my other phones because I have a ton of apps on my phone. And it's just like, Google just don't give us that much room free on our phones. So that's what I was mentioning, Lisa, to you. And thanks for answering the question. But I just wanted to piggyback off of that. Also, I have other residents over on both sides of the river. And what has become a concern to me, and even in the past when I used to travel to Missouri at a time when I was working over at Wells Fargo. Now, don't get me wrong, we had the MCT, which is MCT, for you guys who don't know, is the Madison County Transit. A lot of individuals do work from Illinois. They're going over to Missouri. So what I have noticed, there's an all-day pass, okay? The all-day pass, you can transfer it over, you can purchase it from Missouri, okay, and transfer it over to MCT. Well, this is the problem that I end up recognizing. I was like, okay, because, I have to literally actually like get another $5 and pay an extra $5. What if Metro can work it out for us to not have to pay an extra, because I may have, like I have the Gateway card and I use that in Missouri. Well, I can't use that Metro gate card on MCT, but I can use the all-day pass that I purchased from Metro and use it on the MCT. And I just think that's like using way too much money. And I don't know, maybe it's some way you guys can sit together and put your heads together and your minds together and try to come up with some way where, I don't know, collaborate with MCT. Okay, because it's my understanding the CEO, what is his name, Roach, Mr. Roach, is, he came from MCT. Like, yeah. So if he's come from MCT, he will understand what I'm saying. So it can be convenient for us to use the gateway on MCT as well. That was my second concern. And the gentleman, he did piggyback off the Hanley, because we have noticed in the news there's been some concerns about safety. And we know that Hanley is like notorious when it comes to has been notorious when it comes to a lot of safety concerns. So yeah, well, he already went on that. So I guess, you know, that wasn't like the first preference when it came to the first phase of the package. However, I would have loved to have been, because I really do feel that the Hanley location is where they're having a lot of issues. I see the deputy sheriffs every now and then for St. Louis County, but you're not seeing them a lot. I'm gonna tell you who I see the most. I see the most is the Metro from Allied. I guess these are vendors that you guys have hired. I see them the most being very active, okay, when it comes to that Hanley. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. And I looks because I am a true advocate when it comes to safety and just being, you know, seeing surroundings, what's going on. I'm gonna tell you what I see. I see those deputy sheriffs for St. Louis County. They're either sitting in their cars, in their vehicles, or they're sitting or standing in the platform where the vehicles are parked. I guess that's the parking lot. I guess you can say, yeah, the parking lot. And, you know, they're like sitting, you know, they're up there. So no, if we want to feel safe, we need you on that platform, just like those security Metro individuals with the yellow are doing, you know? So I don't get that for the life of me. And I mean, I do literally see it. There's definitely a lot of activity that goes on at that Hanley location.
Thank you
Hey,
for all
Ms.
that
Cook.
feedback. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Brittany, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to let everyone know we have 6 minutes left, but you made a lot of comments and you asked a lot of questions. I do want to remind you what you just told us about what you're seeing at the stations. If you have any concerns or want to give any of that feedback to our team, we have a public safety text number, and I will give you that right now. That way you can give them immediate feedback.
Trust me, I have it already programmed in my phone, and I utilize it so much. I promise you, they would be like, "Oh, Miss Oniva, she calls."
They know you.
But
I want to answer something else that you asked about just real quick about the real time or the texting for the real time arrivals at the platforms. In conjunction with the SPP program that Mr. Scott talked about, we have a team that has taken a look at all of our transit centers and the information that we have there and how we can improve it, especially after the improvements and the infrastructure upgrades with SPP. So part of that will include a revamped information kiosk at every station that not only has that stop ID at the top, but it will have information on the kiosk as to how to text or call to get your arrival times for your trains as well as the buses. So I just wanted to say we notice it too. That's a big part of our customer experience, and knowing that you don't always have a smartphone to connect to your transit app. So that is coming. And I see your comment that says great. So I appreciate that.
Okay, so in the interest of time, we have time for just one more question. And this is from Caitlin, and she says, "Hi, I currently live off Jefferson Park and Jefferson with my house windows facing the street. What can I expect from future North-South Metrolink as far as construction time and noise of the train?" And Tim, would you like to answer that, please?
Sure. So I imagine the question is kind of two parts. One is, what's the construction schedule and what's the noise level during construction, and how long my house will be impacted by that construction. So right now our schedule is for start of construction in 2027 with construction ending in 2030. So that doesn't mean that the area right in front of your house is going to be under construction for 4 years, but once we get a contractor on board, we develop a more in-depth construction schedule. And what I would envision is that the construction will either start on the south end or the north end and kind of progress one way or the other. So we would limit the amount of construction in front of your house to as short as possible time frame, if that makes sense. And then I think the second part of your question is the noise from the impact of the actual trains. We are currently conducting some sound studies out there in order to better judge the existing sound levels and then compare that to what we're projecting the sound levels of the new train system will have. We do have a Green Line website that will at some point post those findings. It'll be part of our environmental documentation and will be coming out sometime in probably the spring of next year. That will give more input on and more data on the amount of sound and vibration that can be expected in the corridor. What I can say is that the new trains won't be as loud as our current Metrolink trains because they'll be smaller in stature. They won't be as large and won't be traveling as fast as what our existing trains are. So please don't try and compare them to our existing trains. They will be quieter than that. I just can't fill out the details of exactly how much noise they're going to produce at this point. But we are working on that. Hopefully that helps.
It does. Thank you. And then Whitney just put into the chat a link to our website about the Metrolink. It's www.metrolinkgreenline.com.
Well, thank you everybody for being here today. It is so nice to be able to have conversations with you all, to hear your questions and your comments, and for you to let us talk so much about the things that are going on with us so that you hear our information as well. Whitney, when's the next Community Connect plan for?
First week of November, we will have them posted on that metrostlouis.org/community page within the next week.
Great. Well, it's noon, so we're going to say goodbye. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, y'all.